do you still have faith that he's the right man, Wayne, to lead Manchester United forward? This is the Wayne Rooney Show. Manchester United have just drawn 1-1 away at Fulham. The fans are angry. What we all want to know is, how is Wayne feeling?
Yeah, it was a disappointing result. I thought the start of the game was really positive, really taking the game to Fulham, some nice interplay. And then, from getting the goal and then second half really passive again, too easy to get onto the back line, and obviously Fulham getting equalised, and it looked like Fulham were going to go and win the game. So thankfully they never come away with a draw, but I still think there's a lot to be worked on, and it's early on in the season, of course it is, but I think United really needed to hit the ground running this season, and 1 point from 6 now is obviously a bit of a worry.
Go on, Kay. Oh, you're like a coiled spring.
Do you know what it is?
Go on, just go. Just get it off your chest.
I think what Wayne said there was really important. We needed to hit the ground running this season, and with his record last year, he really needed to get some wins under his belt really quickly. And I think he's got a worse win record than Gary Neville at Valencia. And it's just the same errors keep cropping up, the same players making the same mistakes. And I feel like the lethargy that you see with a lot of the players is sort of starting to creep in with players like Cunha and Mbeumo as well. Like, they look sharp at the beginning of the game, and then it gets towards the end. And
I think just from me on that, I think the one thing, players are getting moved around the pitch and into different positions. You see Mason Mount playing 2 or 3 positions, Cunha and Bueno, Ahmad. Players are moving into different positions, and then from that you can't get a settled, running the team, doing the same thing and one thing. So I know from a player who's done that myself, that can be very frustrating. Then all of a sudden you become fed up of it, and that shows through body language as well. And I just hope that doesn't start to happen with these new players, because I think there's a lot of ability in there, and already early on, the worry is, we've got 3 centre backs, but it's too easy for forwards, midfield players to get onto the centre back. So if anything, you should see at the start of a new season, United saying, right, last season's gone, let's make sure we have a good start, let's stick together, and already they're starting to see them gaps. So that's a big concern for me.
What would you do, Wayne, if you were manager?
I don't know. My track record isn't great as well. So, no. Listen, I think the first thing you'd want to do is say, right, we need to be hard to beat. That's the first thing. Let's be hard to beat. Let's be hard to, concede chances against. And today, again, I think the goalkeeper off corners, every corner you worry when the ball goes in the box. But I think you just have to say, let's do the basics right. And I'm sure we'll get on to Tottenham in a bit. But Tottenham have started the season well because they've got the basics right. And I think that's the first thing as a manager. You really need to try and make sure you fix.
It's funny how things can change in a week, though, wasn't it? You two were fairly optimistic, fairly positive after last Sunday. But is that what is so frustrating, Kay? The fact that you saw some kind of green shoots of what Amorim was trying to do, and then it feels like another step backwards and back into all the problems that you had last year?
Well, yeah, because you could play well against Arsenal because it's Arsenal and they've come second 3 years in a row. And if you play well against them, it's quite encouraging. But this is, no disrespect, but it's Fulham. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, we were expecting a promising result, but that just didn't manifest. And I don't know what can change right now. We're screaming out for a midfielder, and he doesn't fancy Kobbie Mainoo to come on, and he puts on 2 central defenders when we're trying to get a goal. I'm just confused as to what he's thinking.
Were you surprised as well, Wayne, that maybe they've spent all that money on Šeško and then he doesn't start? Does he need to be starting?
Yeah, you'd say so. I think that's what will end up happening. And that's what I was saying before. You know, when he comes on, Cunha's going out wide and etc. So where Cunha in both games has looked more dangerous from when he's played as that central role. So then when he goes out wide, it looks like he doesn't really want to be there. If that makes sense, but Šeško, I think, will become the starting forward. I don't know how many minutes he's played in pre-season, so maybe he's just easing him into the team.
Wayne, from a player's perspective, how important is pre-season? Because I know people talk about it, but how important is it really?
It's hugely important, I think, to get everything you want. Of course, your fitness, but the manager has the opportunity to put all his, his tactical nous into it, and we're seeing that he probably needs this pre-season going into the season. He's had this pre-season. He's spent money, brought players in. So you would have just liked to have seen a bit more and seen the players understand the roles a bit better. And even like with the changes, pre-season allows you to look at, if we're chasing a goal, this was how the team's going to look the last 30 minutes. And I think at the minute what we're seeing is off the cuff really towards the end of the game. So yeah, I think there's no excuses now for the manager this season. He's got to start getting results and get results quickly, because once you start getting into October, November, then I think if the results don't change drastically, then that's where the pressure comes.
You mentioned the stat before, Kay, about Gary Neville, and I know you absolutely love that stat, but this one has been doing the rounds as well. Ruben Amorim has managed Manchester United in 28 matches against current Premier League teams. He has overseen 4 wins. That's a win percentage under 14.5%, and 2 of those wins came in his first month in charge. Do you still have faith that he's the right man, Wayne, to lead Manchester United forward?
It's difficult, and obviously to sit here and say 100%. I don't think anyone could do that. I don't think Ruben Amorim would probably say that himself with what we've seen over the since he's been at the club. But I think the recruitment has been good in the summer. I still want to see 2 or 3 more players be brought in. I'd like to see that. But yeah, it's difficult to say, right, this is going to be our manager for the next 5 years on what we've seen, and we'd love to see him turn that round. And listen, and sometimes we might be going too quick on this because Manchester United brings a lot more of attention. It's only 2 games into the season, but Kay said it before, the worrying sign is we're seeing things what we were seeing last season, and that's a concern. I would like to have hoped that all mistakes and players walking and easy to play against at times would have been gone, but today that was a bit of a worry.
The one good positive is they all look fitter and they all look like they could run a lot more. So if we enter all the players into the London Marathon, we might have a shot at winning that.
It's April, so we've got a bit of time to get them completely ready as well.